Hello and welcome to the Bows Knows. I'm your host, Mr. Bows, and welcome to the next episode of our podcast. We got some special guests with us here today from our esports team. Who's with us today?
My name is Jacob Hines.
My name's Nathan Bohannon.
My name is Wiley Hall.
Wonderful, thanks for joining us today. So first off, what is your favorite subject or topic in school and why?
I guess to go with the theme, it's esports because we get to play games. Most of the people in esports play it casually, but we're like the only team who plays it, I guess, competitively, you could say. So we play video games at home, and I guess there's like a goal or an objective whenever we play video games at home, which normally there isn't. But because we have this elective, it's nice to have that.
Yeah, I like esports too. There's really a lot of, there's a few assignments every once in a while, but it's not that much. And a lot of the time is like talking about like how to play, what we're doing, and the games we're playing, stuff like that.
Same thing as them. I personally like the freedom of it, and like how every Thursday and Friday we could stay during power hour because it's our fourth period and play a little bit longer if we want to.
Very cool. So favorite QI story or tradition that you have?
Well, I don't know if this would be favorite, but it's what came to mind. It used to be Quality, Integrity, Respect was the acronym, and it was QIR. But then they added Mutual Accountability, which is QIRMA, and it ruined the acronym. And I don't know, it kind of peeved me, I guess.
In 7th grade, me and a lot of other people at the end of the school year stood around a tree, and we made up this game called Rock Roulette. It was me and Wiley, Jonathan Burke, he left. But we have done it for almost every year since then at the end of the year, except for last year because Wiley wasn't there.
I personally like the pep rallies that we have during the seasons. I think we have one in the fall and one in the spring. Those are some of my favorite memories.
Awesome. If you could have coffee with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I would personally say probably my deceased great-grandfather on my mom's side. I'd love to know more stories from him.
I'd probably do it with my grandpa, who died a few years ago, because I was pretty close with him. It was kind of hard when he died. So
My grandpa died too, not too long ago, so I guess I'd like to talk to him too, because I didn't get to talk to him as much as I'd like to.
All right, so last question before we get into talking about esports. Quality, integrity, respect. Which one and why?
I would say quality. Personally, because if you don't have like good quality work or good quality school, it could easily go downhill. And I think that's like one of the main binding of every main requirement every school should have in order to have, as well as test scores, I guess you could say, and student life.
I would probably go with quality too, especially here, because here we have, I guess, higher academic expectations here than other schools, especially like relative to Putnam County. So quality would be like the type of coursework that we're doing. We have the ACE curriculum. I wouldn't say respect, because that would probably be more like a behavioral thing. You might have those problems more like IHS or PHS, but here, I would definitely say quality.
I would also say quality because with like ACE tests and stuff like that, you need to make sure you're doing quality work and making sure all your stuff's good, or you're not going to pass and get your ACE diploma.
Great. So let's shift gears and talk specifically about esports. So tell us a little bit about esports.
So esports is like sports where two teams will play against each other, but the E comes from it is on games as two teams of 5 to 6 players will play against each other, and whoever wins gets paid a bunch of money.
There's usually multiple games for each of these tournaments you'll play for money. There's usually like a normal amount would be like 4 or 5, and whoever wins the most games wins the tournament and possibly moves on to other tournaments, stuff like that. And you have to have a lot of practice with the game that you're playing because you need to know strategies, where to go. You need to have call outs with your teammates. So you don't you don't have to explain what's going on. You can just kind of give a quick word, and you'll know where people are. And you have to spend a lot of time practicing.
So for esports here, it was actually esports started as a club a year ago with Mr. Cantrell. We call him Mr. C. I'll say that once. So Mr. C made the club. Originally, we did Rocket League, but I was the only person who really played Rocket League. And Mr. C is actually really good at Halo. So we learned how to play Halo. None of us, except for Nathan, had played Halo in the past. So me and Wiley especially, we practiced a lot. Nathan did too, and we got better at the game. And so now we're at a place where we can play competitively in the game, and we'll see what happens. But now it's an elective now instead of a club. It's a lot bigger. But most people don't really play competitively like us. Like, you can join the elective, you can play casually. Like, a lot of the teams, they're just there to have fun, and you can do which style you like.
Okay, so esports is not like a power hour thing. It's developed into an actual elective course that you can select.
So when we did this actually during after school hours. We would practice on Mondays, and which then turned to our games would be on Mondays. But so what Mr. C has told us specifically is that our Halo season last year, we placed, it was 5th nationally out of 200 high schools with little to no experience either. And he was able to talk to Mr. Theobald about it, and apparently Mr. Theobald loved the idea of making it a new elective, and so we all took it, and so far it's been really fun.
Awesome. So, kind of a two-part question. Why did the three of you choose to join esports, and why should other students want to take this as an elective in the future?
Well, we joined esports partially because we're doing this tournament, and it's just a class that kind of pairs with it, and it's a class with Mr. C. We like Mr. C, and that we were kind of there when the class was made, and so we kind of need to be there to help it out with like the tournaments, getting signed up, stuff like
that. Part of the reason was we were kind of the reason that it was created because of how well we did last season in Halo, and so that got Theobald's interest. And then once word got around, everybody likes to play video games, so the elective became popular, and now it's an actual class instead of just a club. So
a reason for people to take it would be, it's a fun class, and if you want to get into the esports genre, like maybe that may be a career for you, this is definitely an entry. And because you learn about different teams, different games you could play. There's a game for everyone that you want to play on what we use, and if you don't, that's fine. I think one of the curriculums you could take is like how to manage an esports organization. So if you don't want to be the one playing, but you want to have one and be able to coach one, that's a topic we will learn.
It's great. Esports is really kind of a new frontier of both athletes and ad revenue for the sponsors. So if a student wants to learn more about the esports class and how to get involved, how can they go about finding more information?
Probably just go talk to Mr. C during Power Hour. He's open Thursdays and Fridays in the first and second half. And you just go talk to him, ask him about it, or possibly go talk to Ms. Tori about a class change if they want to switch.
To learn more, our classes during 4th period, and on Mondays and Tuesdays we do an assignment to have something in the grade book, and then Thursdays and Fridays are our free days. So if you cannot go to Power Hour but you could go during 4th period on one of those days, it would be best to go through Thursday and Friday.
It's also only available to 10th graders and up, so there's no 9th graders.
Okay, so something for our underclassmen to look forward to be able to take that. So that's great. So anything else before we wrap it up here today? Anything else you gentlemen want to add about esports?
It's not, like, the class itself is really easy, but if you want to try to play games competitively, it's not something super easy. Like, you have to spend a lot of time practicing and learning everything about your game before you can actually try to go in and win money from it. You have to practice a long time on it.
We placed 5th last season, and we're looking for 1st this season.
And if we do place 1st, or up to 4th, we get into the Nationals, and the Nationals has $150,000 in scholarships, and like I think it was like $2,500 per person if you win.
And the last I think it was 4 years, they haven't had the in-person finals. They've had it online, but starting this spring, they'll be doing up in-person finals again, where you get to fly to Texas.
Yeah, you get to fly to Texas and compete in a tournament out there.
Awesome. Cool. Well, we've heard it here. They're trying to go from 5th to 1st this year, so we'll stay tuned for that, see what happens. So before we wrap it up here today, normally I just ask for any media recommendations, but given that we're talking about esports, what's a game that you're playing that you recommend people check out?
We've been playing Halo, and that's our game that we've been doing. It's pretty fun. There's updates coming to the multiplayer soon that will fix some of the issues that's been going on with it, but the Halo campaign is pretty cool, and there's all the past campaigns are still available to play. It's pretty cool.
A little bit of information about the games. The organization is Generation Esports that we go through to do the games. From what I know, Halo it's about like an average size player entry. The amount of players entering through HSEL, which is the organization. Their biggest game is Rocket League. So there are some games, I'll give you two, Rocket League and Valorant. The top teams in those two games they're really good. They're the top ranks. So unless you really know what you're doing, I'd probably find another game. Of course, you could just play casually if you just have fun. But if you're looking to play competitively, find another game. Halo isn't too high. The top team isn't too high, so
Rocket League. I know that since they're recruiting younger for esports teams, there's actually professional players on there that will play for hundreds of thousands of dollars and just happen to be in this tournament. It's Rocket League is the hardest one to try to get into because the skill gap is so high on it.
Wiley, do you have any recommendations for our listeners?
I would say Halo again, Rocket League and Valorant, like they were saying, have so many kid pro players around this time due to their genres of playing and popularity. Yeah, Halo, if you want to get into something, Halo should be your starter. Call of Duty is also pretty big. There's not a big skill gap between there.
The last Call of Duty wasn't the most popular, and so they took it off the roster this year. But there should be next spring. Modern Warfare 2 should be on there, and there is Minecraft, but we have no idea about Minecraft. That's probably the most popular one because how many people play Minecraft, but we haven't ever looked at it because we never had an issue or an interest in playing competitive Minecraft. So,
all right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Listeners, if you like the podcast, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you can catch future episodes. Be sure to give QI Roberts Student Government a follow on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on future episodes and happenings around QI. If you feel we've earned it, please rate and review us on your podcast player of choice and share with a friend. Thank you, Knights, and remember, excellence in all endeavors.